Welcome to the Kuenzli Talk, wedding planning made simple. With over 10 years of experience as wedding photographers, we sisters share tips, stories, and advice to help you plan your wedding day without stress or regrets. Let's dive in. Welcome to a new episode of the Kuenzli Talk. Today we're diving into a very special topic, film photography. But first of all, as always, next to me is sitting my sister Stephanie.
Hello, everyone.
And we have a very special guest today. It's Chantal, a dear friend and colleague of ours. And yeah, we have actually something very special to tell. And as some of you know, we're not just a wedding photography crew, but also we do a lot of videos as well. And we are expanding our team even more with Chantal as a film photographer. First of all, tell people who you are and what brought you into the photography business. And what we talk about today especially is film photography and also in weddings, of course. So yeah, I bet you have a lot to tell about that. So yeah, please go ahead. We're so excited to hear more about that.
Thank you for inviting me to the podcast. I'm very happy to be here. I'm obviously just very happy to be with you in the office, in our lives together, and now, spanning together our talent and our vision and aspirations for future collabs. So I'm very grateful for that. So what to say about me? I am definitely not coming from weddings. I'm moving towards them, thanks to you guys. But I have two of my feet deeply rooted in photography as my form of art and expression. I was even coming from painting and drawing first, and then found my way into photography. And it just, for me, it was always a tool to navigate my life, difficult emotions, and just create from the heart. And that eventually became my job. And it's been a roller coaster and whirlwind journey, full of amazing things, full of difficult things. And now I'm sitting here. Maybe 6-7 years into self-employment as a photographer, as an artist. Being still amazed at what's possible and what life I'm leading. And so I don't know what else there's to say. I mean, there's so much to say. There's so little to say.
I bet. Well, it's incredible what you've done so far. So you have even published not just one, but several books as well. So yeah, we will certainly talk about that as well. But I think, first of all, for those who have no idea what film photography is, do you want to explain what that is? Talk about film photography, because obviously we do digital photography. That's what most, especially wedding photographers do. But yeah, there's like
The artistic way, and this is so important to understand what's the difference.
So
it is definitely a huge difference to digital. And I guess we're on a weird generational point where actually we're digital natives. But our entire children's photos, all these memories, they're still shot on film because it hasn't evolved into mainstream photography until the 2000s. So our parents literally took all their photos on these little rolls of celluloid. It's like a silver gelatin stripe that captures light. So what happens if you put this one in a camera, light falls on this material and the light will transform the chemical on the material that has to be developed afterwards in some chemicals, in some kind of a bath. And then you have a stripe of negatives. And then you put that through a scanner. In these days, you need a scan. You don't do prints anymore. because you all need it for the website and for Insta and stuff. But basically, digital falls light on a sensor and transforms that to digital codes. And this one, it's just a real product. It's a real material. That is also what makes it so authentic and real to me. Yeah, I definitely love this tactic aspect of it, like putting these rolls into the camera, winding it, and really feeling the material that I'm working with. So yeah, guys, this is film. This is what we shot our entire childhood on, and then we swapped to digital. But I kind of, funny enough, I mean, I'm coming the other way. I'm digital native. My first camera was digital, and I found analog photography later, like a second thing, like an addition, and that's how it still feels today.
Wow. And what draws you personally to analog photography versus digital? So because you mainly shoot with film, right?
Yes.
So yeah, tell us about the difference about that.
So the difference starts already like in the process. It's not just about results. I mean, the results are gorgeous. They have this beautiful grain. They have this nostalgic feel. Yeah, there is like this very specific analog look that you can also like to a certain degree fake with adding some grain to your digital photos, but it will never be the same. But for me, especially, what made analog photography, what made me so fall in love with it completely from the first roll on was the process of it. So I remember borrowing an analog camera and shooting my first roll on holidays in Portugal, and I didn't even realize while I was filling this roll what I was doing differently than on digital. It was only when I got the roll back and went through that roll and realized how much I intentionally chose the moments that I was capturing. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so different. On digital, I have a digital camera and I will be like shooting upright and vertical and go closer, go further away and be like, all over the place, shooting 20 shots for the one that I want. And the afterwards process is that I sit down on my computer and I choose the one photo that I like. And with analog, with film, you go through your film and you have just that one shot. You only took that one shot.
Yeah.
Because it's actually a material, it costs money, it's limiting, and that limitation makes intention. That limitation creates that presence and that concentration, and that you actually, before you click the shutter, you think about, is this framing right? Do I need to move that 1 centimeter to the right or to the left, or is that the shot? You think about this. You don't just click, 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 click.
So you need to be very mindful for the moment. And this makes a big difference, because when you are very mindful, you're really waiting and you're very patient with the moment, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've fallen in love with the results on film because of that slowed down, very intentional process of shooting film. 100%.
That's really beautiful. I mean, it's not the same for us.
For those who knows us, we're just shooting. We're just kind of like wedding.
But
Like a competition.
but honestly, you have to. I definitely think also there will be, and there is a huge difference when I shoot like weddings on film or like doing this new collaboration, like this wedding highlights on film. There is definitely not enough freedom to take forever time to shoot, but I definitely will be much more slowed down with film still, because I can't just shoot a whole roll the same thing, because it's that's just not possible.
Yeah, but for us, for example, it's like clear what's the difference. But when, for example, clients are asking you, how do you explain them? What is actually what they need to hear about your work, so they are really convinced about it?
I would say if you if you consider film photography, adding film photography to your wedding day, you are a lover of imperfection. You're a lover of the authentic, the raw, because film is inevitably, ultimately uncontrollable. I definitely do have a lot of knowledge about every of my camera. I do have a lot of knowledge about every film I shoot, but still, film photography has such a huge, like coincidence, plays a role, and film, yeah, is inevitably a surprise. Not 100%, but definitely that is just a huge aspect. And I love all the imperfections film gives me, all the accidents, all the happenings. To me, they're very beautiful, and they are what makes it so distinct to digital, which is absolutely perfect every single shot, because you have that autofocus, you have that everything is automated, while I shoot completely manual. But you gotta love this. You can't expect to get the perfect wedding reportage. When you get film back, there will be the blurry shots, there will be the out of focus shots, there will be this like light splotches and blurs and sometimes scratches on the film. And to me, that makes it really beautiful. And if you want to add film, you gotta love this authentic, this authentic thing that film brings in. You definitely need to sign up also for a little bit of a surprise.
A surprise egg.
Yeah, I mean, I want to emphasize you're not gonna get a complete surprise. Obviously, I'm gonna shoot your wedding, but definitely, you just gotta love the imperfection that film brings, and this feeling that comes with it.
I love that what you're saying, the imperfection in film, which is so cool. So I love that personally. So I would totally book you for my wedding. No, you would be in first hand my guest for sure. But
but you need trust for that also.
Of course, you
People
need to trust
know
the
that
process.
there's an artistic approach.
Yeah.
And art is always, it's connected with trust. So
Yeah.
if you're ready and you know, I can really count on this surprise and I will love it no matter what, you're the perfect match with.
Yeah. But I mean, talking about weddings, and so we're going to explain everybody out there how we found our way to wedding photography, because it started actually, I think it was 3 years ago in 2022 when it was like so wild. We had so many bookings. It was post-COVID, and people, they just wanted to get married. We had like so much weddings in the pipeline, and we definitely needed help. So that's where you jumped in. And that's where we ask you about if you would mind to come and help us out with all those weddings. But back then you did digital with us.
Yeah.
And so last year we had the idea to build up this film portfolio in weddings.
To incorporate that. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're just so in this field, you're just a pro, and we love the film photography aspect. But I think me especially, I wouldn't like, we're doing digital photography for sure, and I'm going to stay there in this field, but I love what film photography brings in. So what we decided is to, give our couples the possibility to book film photography as an add-on as well. And why an add-on? Because we now decided not just to book you as a single photographer for a whole wedding, because you can tell us more about that, about the difficulties in shooting a whole wedding just in film, because we think that the combination with digital and the film photography is like the perfect
win
match, right? So why wouldn't you recommend couples to just book you as the only wedding photographer in film?
I definitely feel if you are a couple that wants to have your entire wedding day covered in a really beautiful full reportage, then you gotta add digital, you gotta add another photographer, because I won't be able to capture everything. That beautiful limitation that film gives, that adds the presence and the intention for each shooting, will also just literally limit what it's possible to capture and shoot. Film has other limitations, like it doesn't cope well with like dark situations, and you just need a digital camera for have a fully beautiful reportage. And I mean, there's just no one better than you guys. You are just incredible in making that happen, and having this, like, even just with one photographer or two photographers, you're just running around, you know your shots, you're so professional in what you're doing, and you capture this whole beautiful reportage. And I think film there can just be this cherry on top that is creating, and then you also get this allowance in creating these imperfections, because you have the perfect reportage, you have everything covered, there's nothing missing out, and then film just adds this magic, adds this unique style, adds this intention, adds this nostalgia, this rawness, and that's why it's such a great add-on.
Yeah.
That's why we call it the highlights on film, because I'm going to try, and I'm going to intentionally try to capture those moments on those special film. I'm going to decide for each scene which film I'm going to shoot, which camera I'm going to take, and I'm going to try to pick that very specifically for I'm not going to shoot just generally images, but I want to try to capture those images that are worth capturing on film, where film can shine, where film can really make a difference. And I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, that's so cool. I couldn't imagine how photographers back then they'd shoot a whole wedding, because I don't know how they do that, because weddings, they're sometimes, even for us photographers, so stressful, because we need to run from one place to the other, and oh, the bride is coming, and then this is happening and that is happening. We never run out of film. We do digital photography.
Yeah,
so
but I think the difference also was that, like she already mentioned, you only had certain amounts of shots, right? And people knew back then that there are like 30 or 40 photos, right? So they were very patient, they were happy no matter what. And that changed completely. We live now in a world where you want to document every second of your wedding,
That's
which
true.
makes it so difficult to understand what is really important for these kind of couples, and what do they want to see in the results. And that's why I think it's so important also to be very mindful with film photography, because it's going back to this mindset and be conscious about it. And there are only certain amount of photos they will get, and also there are moments they have no idea they existed, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's so good to hear what's the difference. Because for me, I love this kind of photography, but I couldn't, because I know that you need really to be very mindful in a very stressful moment. So you need to be very strong in your mindset. And you need also to be very patient when the couple are stressed, for example. How can you calm them down so they can really feel this moment of authenticity, love, compassion, and then you take your click and then you have your photo.
Yeah, I definitely, I mean, in general, I would say my strong suit is when I do have a bit of time one-on-one with the couple. So couple shoot, obviously, but also some couples just cut the getting ready from the reportage, and I'm always sad about it, because this is kind of like almost my favorite moment. It's so raw, it's so authentic. It's the most, it's like this giddy, nervous expectation. There's so many emotions in the air, and you just document there, and I love that. And I think their film is a super strong add-on for like a getting ready or like a more intimate setting. Obviously, you can get great film shots on the ceremony as well, or in general from just like still life is very beautiful. But yeah, my personal strong suit, like the closer I am allowed to step into a person's space, the more authentic and raw images I'm gonna get. And on film, it just translates even more, like goosebump moments, like so honest and so true. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, I think what is really impressive is sometimes we are so surprised about the angles you find in a moment. We never would think about it.
I love that. I love that about you. Not just like because you shoot differently with film, obviously, because you also have this artistic eye. And that using that even in weddings is so fascinating. And the pictures, I mean, I see them and they turn out like incredible.
Which is also a very highlight for the concept of timeless. It's a photo you can hang for maybe 100 years or more. And in a commercial aspect, it's difficult to take this depth.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have these angles because when it's commercial, it's the moment of now. We can show this work now, but this kind of work is forever.
I guess it's also just really because we're that generation that connects film photography with our past, with our childhood. I don't know what will happen with the generation that comes after us, but definitely it has something that just this kind of like feeling of remembrance. If we see an analog photo, it makes it timeless for us. It could live for another 100 years. It has lived for 100 years. And I think, I just also really love that aspect about it. I mean, that's just, especially for a wedding, makes it so special.
Yeah, it's so cool. Well, and we do have, I think in 3 weeks, our first wedding together in Spain, Marbella, where we're a team of 3, like all 3 of us.
Yeah, the first official one. Yeah,
The first official one that we really now are so excited about. It's a 3 wedding day. And it was so funny because the bride, she first booked the digital wedding photography part. And then when I saw her mood board, it was all film photos. So I was kind of like, hold on, let's ask her if she would be into film photography as an add-on. And she was immediately into that. So I mean, it's gonna be amazing. I can't wait for that. And we're gonna be like a perfect team of 3. We're doing the main, like would say the coverage, the wedding coverage, as people know we do, and adding those highlight shots in film is gonna be amazing. So yeah, let's wait for that one. And can't wait to show the results then after that.
Yeah, I'm very excited and obviously also a tiny little nervous, but a good kind of nervous.
Yeah, that's always good, being a good kind of nervous for weddings. What I was wondering, because we talked about what couples should consider in adding a film photographer. Now, let's reverse the question for someone who's doing digital photography. Let's say someone like me want to start with film photography. What should I consider with that? Is it easy to do film photography if you don't have like any sort of experience with that?
I would say there is certainly, I mean, everything is learnable, obviously. I started with zero knowledge as well. But definitely film has a bit of this initial uncertainty because you shoot your first roll absolutely not knowing what the F you're doing.
Yeah.
You'd be like, okay, I just put like this weird thing in this little metallic thing and it's gonna click and I don't know, and is this right? And okay, it does something,
what is 3,
but
what is 2, what
you
is 1?
have
I would have no
no
idea.
control, so there is no screen here. You can't check what you've done. You need to, and I mean, as a digital photographer, you probably never really thought about how manually exposing a photo. So you need to relearn how to manually correctly expose a photo, because if you just use the light meter in the camera and you shoot backlit, you shoot against the window, on film it's just going to be black. It's like you need to learn how to proper meter a photo, how to proper expose a photo. Each film is very different. You need to learn about each look of Cinestill, Fujifilm, of Kodak films, of like all the black and whites, of the different grain. You need to, there is just a lot to learn, and a lot to learn that you can only learn with a lot of trying. You need to shoot a lot of rolls of film until you have like a kind of a secure, trusting feeling with your camera and with the film that you put in. And I learned digital first as well. And it's just like, if you can control immediately what you're doing, obviously you learn so much faster.
Yeah.
Film is an expensive and a long journey to learn it, but definitely not impossible. But
I mean, I remember when I had a wedding in Austria with you. And in the evening, suddenly someone came with an old camera to me and just asked me, "Oh, you're the photographer, you know how?" And I was like, "What?"
It was a film.
It was camera. And he just gave it to me and run away, and I had no idea what to do with
And
that
you
camera.
passed it to me.
Yeah. And I was like, "Melanie, do you want some?" I think they know that, they think that we know, but I have no idea.
We had no idea.
I was like, "Why is Chantal not here?"
I was so stressed
Sorry.
out.
We were so stressed because we had no idea what to do, but still we didn't want to admit that we had no idea. So we
we just
tried to be
pretend.
professional. And I think I did like 3 clicks or something.
I don't know. Maybe I did one.
And I have no idea until today what happened with
how
these
this
photos.
turned out. They
Yeah.
never gave us feedback.
They never gave
I don't know if
feedback,
that's a good sign.
Yeah, so I remember that, and I was so shocked that it was like, okay.
it is something else. It is
Yeah.
like an other medium.
Yeah.
It suddenly changes. Even Polaroid is not a medium than like 35 millimeter or medium format. Or like it's really like digital and film are they're like related, but they're not the same thing. They're like just you need to learn an entirely different skill set for it.
A quick note from our sponsor, Switzerland Tourism is all about making your dream destination wedding a reality. Check out their website for real wedding stories, a handy wedding venue finder, and top-notch vendors to bring your vision to life. Plus, their Instagram is packed with stunning inspiration from international weddings. You won't want to miss it. So now let's go back to our episode.
Let's get back about the wedding process itself with film photography. Are there any like situations in a wedding where like film photography isn't really doable, like it's challenging for you? Is there like a certain situation that you need to consider to do your craft? Or talk us through about this journey in a wedding day.
I mean, there's certainly a lot of challenges shooting film on a wedding. As I said, strong suit of film is, in my personal opinion, when I have a little bit of more time, a little one-on-one with the couple, either in a getting ready or in a like couple shoot. I guess a very, very, very important part of film is also that there is limitations in light. So there is, on each film, there's a number for light sensitivity. And if you have a low sensitive film, that just gives you inevitably limitations on how dark it can get and how well you can shoot in a room, for example. So I definitely feel if you want a photographer that also captures your party and cutting your cake, and that is all in the night, film might not be as shiny and brilliant there, because you can definitely just flash into people's faces. And that is obviously a very modern and fresh look for now, and I can definitely come with this one and shoot flashy photos of all that scene. But I would actually accentuate the magic of film during the day, the daylight hours, where I have enough leverage with light.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
lighting is a
important.
big
Super
aspect.
important, because you can't really add anything to. I mean, on digital you can just push up the ISO. You can flash. On film with this one, I'm just limited to its abilities.
Yeah. And after a wedding, how do you proceed with the film? So what's the process in that?
Okay, so after a wedding on film, or style shoot or wherever it is, I have a lot of these. You don't see the lashes because it's all wound in and it's fully exposed. And I work with a really, really, really great lab in Spain. It's Carmencita Film Lab, and they know me for 6 years now, and I work with them like for every single role I'm shooting, because yeah, how you need to imagine. So these spools, they go into machines, into developing machines. They go through different chemicals to be developed into stripes of negatives. And when you have that negative, that alone is not enough. I mean, then you have just a stripe of negatives. What do you want to do with that? You need images. In the old days, you would go into the darkroom and print those photos. But in the digital world, in the new age, you need scans. You need professional, high-resolution scans. And that is an art form of itself, because it's so difficult. It's not easy to scan film beautifully, especially also color film that with lots of skin tones. It's very nuanced and it's very, very distinct, because also every film has a different color look. So Fuji looks entirely different than a Kodak film, and then there is expired stuff, etc., etc. So you need to have a professional team scanning your film, and I do have that with Carmencita. And then they scan each frame of that stripe of negative into a high resolution scan that I can have either as a TIFF or a JPEG, and that these images I get back into to my computer, obviously, and there I do just finishing touches. So my motto on film is to keep as real as possible, but I know also you guys don't edit like you edit your image look, but you don't edit the photo in generally like a lot. So I definitely keep it the same. If it needs some straightening, if it might need some contrast, but also that what I love about my lab is that they have an entire color reference profile of all my films. I shoot a lot of different films. I love that about it. It keeps it versatile and fun for me. So they know all my preferences for every film, and usually they come back perfect, and I don't need to touch them a lot.
So maybe it's interesting for film photography lovers, because what we heard is there are also photographers, digital photographers, who try to be more film photography, so they edit this kind of look.
Yeah.
So how exactly do they know that there is like a difference, and how they can choose a real film photographer versus a digital photographer?
I mean, I guess if you're if you're not someone that works with photography or has a trained eye, I guess just from looking at it, probably there is digital photographers that are really good at faking an analog and film look. But I guess it's with every craft that is handmade and that has something real and authentic, that people who are cherishing that, they will know the difference, and they will appreciate the difference that something is made from like a real wooden table and not just like a fake surface on it. And I mean, you could even have and frame your negatives at home. You get like some a real material where real light has touched a surface. Your moment of the kiss or your intimate moment of your wedding day, that light has reflected on a material and has burned in that material forever. I mean, this is like, how magic is this? It's not just a sensor taking a million pictures a second. It's a real material. It's forever that tiny little photo, and that is scanned beautifully, and you have that. I definitely also think there is looks on film that are not completely copyable or to replicate is really hard, like medium format. Like if you shoot an image with this beauty, it's just a Rolleiflex image. It's a medium format image, and I think I don't know how to replicate that in digital. It's just magic. Yeah, but I definitely say I would empathize the feeling of this is something very real and tangible that you add to your wedding, versus like, yes, if you're an absolute beginner and you don't have anything to do in photography, someone could get away with a digital photos, just editing that. But yeah,
How do you feel in general about those kind of photographers faking the film photographer? Do you feel like this is kind of cheating, or is it kind of like maybe a form of style that they want to develop?
I mean, it's just like very in at the moment, so I can't be mad at photographers using that style and yet trying to replicate that. Even if I shoot digital, I edit a little bit of grain into my images just because I'm used to seeing my images that way. I would just miss the process of it. I get a bit depressed and uninspired if I only shoot digital. If I shoot digital too much, I personally wouldn't want to miss that, and I want to have the real thing, and that's just important to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if that is important to a couple or to a person that wants to capture something on film, like, if you value that, then don't go for the cheap option and just faking the digital one into looking like film. It's not the same.
I think I got that. It's kind of like the story that's missing in that, like the whole process, the lab, the negatives, and everything that's go into film photography everything is missing in that. So
And every image that you get back, I mean, obviously there is mishaps and challenges, and some films don't work out as you liked. But the thing is that every image that comes back and just, is like a little arrow piercing through your heart because it just hits the spot, makes this image even more precious, because it's just like, how amazing this worked, and this worked out, and you remember the moment behind the lens clicking that shot, and then you haven't seen it until weeks later. It comes back, and then it makes even more of an effect. If it makes more of like, it holds momentum, it holds like, this completely magical to have to wait for an image. It really adds something to the images, I feel.
yeah.
I really like that aspect of waiting.
Yeah, but this is actually personal for me, the most, I would say, challenging part, because after I shoot a wedding, I immediately want to see the results. I can't wait. I want to see, okay, how this turns out. Even like in the moment, as you say, I have a display, I can see, okay, what we're shooting at. But not knowing what's coming out of this camera, what you shot, that would make me even crazy.
But I think this is also because you are a person who try to have the control of your tools.
Yeah.
And for Chantal, it's actually really not having too much control in the moment.
And
it's
trusting
letting
the
go and
process.
trusting the process.
Or maybe less about control, but more like, I want to stay in the moment. I don't want to think about result. I emphasize and I focus on this, what is really happening. I'm not getting distracted by results. I'm really just in the moment. I'm focusing. I'm with the couple. I'm with the person. I'm with whatever is happening in front of me, and that allows me to be creative, that allows me to go out of the box, that allows me to bring my own person in it, because I really forget about all the results. They come later. They come at a later point. And I mean, obviously on a wedding, you're on a job, and I want to definitely do my best job that I can. So the results are obviously still in the back of my mind. But while shooting, I definitely am very present, and like, it's just about the creative process. The result is completely gone because I can't control it anyways at that moment. And I personally have, like, especially for my personal work, I love the wait. I don't like to see images right away. I mean, obviously there's the thrill of something new, and you can't wait when you shot something. I mean, I feel the same way. But then if I see the images too quickly, it's just, there is something that makes it that just makes these expectations weight a lot. And then when I see the photos, I can't separate that from my expectations. I'm usually then a little bit disappointed, or I'm like, or in the thrill of that is completely new and I'm excited about everything. And a week later, I'm like, oh, it wasn't even that great. I don't know. I haven't waited until that expectation and thrill wears off and just like connecting to the authentic result that is there and feel if this is the right thing. So for me, the waiting helps tremendously to shape my personal work, but also I love that about film, that even on a wedding, you need to wait 2, 3, even 4 weeks sometimes until everything comes back. And it's just like you can look at it with fresh eyes and just,
True.
yeah.
But do you have an example where you were on a wedding and took all the photos and you were like, I don't know. And then suddenly when they came, you were like so impressed also about yourself. And you're like, okay, I wasn't so sure about that moment, but now the photo is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that happens when I am, when I try to, I don't know. I mean, I'm always try to bring my own artistry, my own eye, my own vision into the shot, and especially also on weddings. And sometimes when things are like, when I'm like struggling to find the alignment, when I'm struggling to work with the energy or work with the day, then I throw in extra crazy film. I will go for the bit more risky version, and I go for, I mean, obviously I shoot with like 5 cameras, so one is always secure. So don't think I just risk everything, but I will definitely with 2 other cameras, maybe shoot an expired film, shoot something that I know is a bit out of the box, even for me, like going really crazy. And sometimes that really does the trick, and it comes back in the results, and I'm like, wow, now this is working. I love it.
Yeah, I remember one wedding you had together was this Asian wedding in the mountains, in Swiss mountains. And I had no idea of how the film photography looked like. So when the results were there and there were like 2 photos, I was so amazed about it. Was the moment when you were like inside this hotel and everything was red, and she was like passing by, and you just took this moment and it looked like a photo from 100 years ago, but absolute stunning. I was like, we could never take this kind of photos in our lives. It was really different. That was the moment when I also had like this kind of click, which it was like, this is art. You know, this is really timeless art.
At the end of the day, it is art, film photography, at least for me. But there's one thing I want to go back to, talking about labs, because you working with a specific lab.
Yeah.
But I remember you showed me one picture. It's actually the same picture, but developed from different labs. The one you just talked about, the one in Spain, and then there was another one. And I was so fascinated about how different the pictures turned out. But it was actually the same picture. It was exactly the same roll and shot. But so it makes a difference where do you develop the film, you know? So I think that's a key information, or a key thing that people maybe should know, what to do with the film photos that you shot at.
Yeah, your lab, like if they scan your stuff, not just develop it, but scanning gives your image the look it has. Obviously, the film, like, it gives a base that you can't erase, like how the grain structure is, or is more cool toned or more warm toned. But ultimately, your lab that scans the film decides almost half of your image look. So they should better be good. Honestly, I think if you shoot film more or less professionally and you need the images professionally and you shoot a roll and you bring it to DM and drop it there in the box and they just let them run through their not so professional setup, I could literally throw this in a trash can as well. Like, that's the amount of not how unusable these scans would be for me. Even just the quality, if you get an image back that is barely the size that you can print it, it's just not doing it for me. And I definitely had a very important moment when I changed labs, and it really transformed my entire work. And I knew it in that moment when I tried it. When I got the first results back, I was in front of my laptop crying my eyes out because I realized this is going to change my work. This is going to change my work entirely. And and I have a good relationship with my lab. I have visited my lab. I've done major big projects with my lab. So it's really also a friendship. It's a trust bond. And I mean, obviously not everyone shooting film shoots on this of like a job professional level. But definitely if you take film a bit serious, and it's so costly, it's not a cheap hobby or a cheap way of taking photographs, make sure you have a proper scan of your work, because you can shoot the most perfect shot, perfect exposure, nailing everything, and then if it's developed in bad chemicals and have stains all over your negatives, and then if you have a bad scan that is washed out and like not great,
That would be
like,
such a pity for.
such a waste of your
Yeah.
beautiful intentional work that you have done. So good scan is always worth it.
That was a really eye opener for me because I never thought about that in film photography. So, in general, it's such a process, the whole film photography part. So that's why I get why it's so popular for people, because when they realize what's everything behind this kind of photography style, it's really unique. And yeah, so I think after I mean, I get inspired by you every day with every work you do, with your books that you publish, because you obviously don't do just weddings, but you mainly do a lot on your own portfolio. You're an artist in your field and you publish a lot of successful books. So maybe you can tell us something about that as well.
Yeah, I guess I'm coming from a huge background of personal work, and I will keep continuing that. So weddings is something like an add-on for me. I think I've just always loved the playfulness of photography, the playfulness of shooting with a person, shooting bodies. I love to play with body and light and the sculptural effect, but also this honesty. And that is the thing I want to bring into the weddings as well. I want to, and I think I'm at this point pretty decent at it, that I seeing the frame, I see the ideas, I connect to the people, I am on the hunt for this real authentic moments, and bringing in a lot of artistry. So weddings are something so beautiful because there are a really emotional day for 99.9% of the people, and if you're belonging to the other like minority, you're doing something wrong. But no, weddings are beautiful because you gather your loved ones and you celebrate your love, and you're nervous. There is as we always said, there is a lot of emotions on the day. So me being allowed to be there and step really close to the bride or the groom or to all the people that are really close, that is really beautiful. And I think that is also what draws me to shoot a couple of weddings, because I love the emotionality of and the expressiveness of photography, and the aspect that is something that we have been given to capture moments forever. I mean, imagine photography has never been invented, like how we would go about painting every moment, and it would be
Maybe
it
there
would
would
be
be more painters on a wedding trying
would
to
be
paint
like-
10 paintings at the same
I
time.
mean, honestly, how much of an effort. And now we have this photography. I think about this almost every week. It strikes me, and I'd be like, how amazing is this that we can capture these moments forever? I love photography for that aspect as well. I mean, my partner always tells me, like, there is barely any photograph before I stepped into his life, and now he has everything documented. And he didn't like to be photographed before, but now he says it's so precious to have all these memories. I'm like, yes, oh my gosh, I couldn't go my life without photography. And obviously your wedding, you want to have a memory of it. It will, imagine 20 years later, it will bring back that day through photography.
Yeah.
So special.
So clients, if they want to book you, they have to consider to be patient, they have to be open-minded.
Yeah,
They
especially that.
need to be, I mean, they need to love surprises, obviously, too. But the most important part, what I hear about is they need to open the door for you so you can be very close to their love story. And this is very important.
Yeah, I definitely would say that this is a vital aspect, like this vulnerability and this room that you, the more you let me in, the better the photographs, 100%. And obviously it's a process, and I'm not going to fall with the door into the room, but I'm very gentle. But definitely this is something that you need to want to, if you want honest and beautiful photos, you need to be honest and vulnerable and make space, make time for it.
Great.
Very nice. Thank you so much. And actually, recently, my mom or our mom, she told me that she has still a film camera somewhere at home. So this makes me think like maybe I should try just for me, you know.
Your new
leisure
hobby.
time. Yeah, just try that out. But I must confess, I have a huge respect for that, like for the whole process. But yeah, just seeing your work, just seeing like film photos in general, as you said, it has such a nostalgic feeling. It's so nice, especially for our generation. But I think even the younger generation, they appreciate this kind of photography as well. So it never gets old.
I hope not. I hope film will always exist, because I am not sure if I will forever be a photographer if film would disappear.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I wouldn't. So please make film.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna encourage that for sure, and we can't wait. And we hope that we're gonna have a lot with more weddings together in this combination with digital and
I'm
film.
super excited for it, and I love working alongside you guys. You're heartwarming, and you're my
Likewise.
friends, and it's so amazing to be able to work together like this,
Likewise,
and in an
it's
appreciative environment.
Such a joy. And yeah, for those listenings out there, brides to be, if you have mood boards with a lot of film photography in that mood board, maybe you should consider to book film photographer as an add-on. Well, Chantal, you're amazing at your field. We can't wait to share so many more weddings together. And yeah, and just do a lot of amazing content and memories for couples out there. And yeah.
Yeah,
just say-
well, we will update you with all the work we will have with Chantal this year. So then you have an idea what we mean about all what we talked about it. And very important, if you're not sure about it, just ask for a mood board or some kind of portfolio, and then we can obviously show the best works we have.
For sure. Well, thank you so much for listening, guys. And thank you so much, Chantal, for being here. It was
Thank
a
you for
pleasure.
inviting
it was a
me.
joy. And yeah, see you in a couple of minutes in the office.
Exactly.
Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure, as always, working with you.
Well,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.